Of all the places we've lived, this is my favorite.
It's funny. I bet I've spent more time exploring the Martian surface than roaming around Sidonia itself.
My buddy Mitch keeps asking if I can help him out with something.
Look at this place. I can't imagine being cramped down here, choking on the fumes and the dust. No trees, no grass. It's depressing.
How's it going? Can I help you?
Invoices can be collected from the... Oh. Not here for a delivery, are you?
Worked. Past tense. Dr. Walker hasn't been employed here for some time now. A shame, too. We had such high hopes for Percival. I brought him on myself to do medical and biological consulting around the city. Not the sort of work the Trade Authority traditionally does. But we thought it had the potential to become a whole new type of revenue stream for our branch. I invested no small amount of personal capital into the endeavor. But then he decided to run off after a discipline issue. I presume the miners have him hidden somewhere. Plenty of cracks on this old rock. But at this point, it's probably for the best. Dr. Walker decided to start brewing and selling his own pharmaceuticals to our customers below cost. Something his contract expressly forbade. As such, we requested our cut of the profits and began garnishing his salary. Perhaps a little too severely, but well within legal limits. It was around then that he ran off, abandoning his duty and his unpaid accounts.
That won't be necessary. The Trade Authority isn't interested in employing someone so unreliable. But we would like the money he owes us. If you can convince him to pay his debts, we'd be most grateful.
Oh, I loathe the Trade Authority. Is it absolutely necessary that we have to help them?
Why? Feeling charitable? I don't recall the exact figure off the top of my head, but with the interest it's accrued, I believe it's something substantial. So if you were able to find him and convince him to clear his accounts, you would have our honest gratitude.
can't believe you're helping them. What a stupid waste of time.
Wonderful.
I suggest paying a visit to the Sixth Circle, what I suppose is technically a bar on the lowest level of the city. If anyone knows where Percival is, the miscreants there would. But I would urge caution. They're not a group known for their hospitality.
Was there something else? Do you now? Very well. Let me take a look at his... Here, his current balance. And do remember, all transactions are final.
It cleared. Wonderful. Dr. Walker's dead is officially no longer our problem. You have my thanks. Oh, and if you do find him, please let Percival know I'm eagerly looking forward to never working with him again.
When you have a few moments, there's something I'd like to discuss.
Sometimes it feels like
Broken Spear's upstairs. Go drown yourself there. This bar's for Devil's vets and their kin.
Doc Walker? You're barking up the wrong...
Andy, you. Why don't you come here and tell me what some stray wants with Walker? Not every day a stray topsider wanders into my bar claiming they know people. What do you want with Dr. Walker? That's so. Now, if that tag's a forgery, it's a damn good one. All right. Maybe she did send you. Or maybe you just know where to buy your fakes. But look, even if I decided I was going to help you get in contact with Dr. Walker, Percival made himself scarce for a reason. His debt to the Trade Authority. But if someone resolved that debt, well, Percival wouldn't have to hide anymore. Can bet that person would make a friend out of Percival, and the rest of us devils. And I'm always inclined to help a friend. Well, did you now? Proactive one, aren't you? Suppose there's no need for me to keep him hidden anymore. He's holed up in the old Red Devil's HQ. Place was sealed up tight after the UC shuttered our unit, but we snuck him in the back entrance through the deep mines. Good you're going in there, actually. Bunch of spacers moved in, not long after we got Percival set up. Don't expect he'd run out before they got taken care of, but I'm sure he'll appreciate not having to find out if I left him with enough rations. Here, the passkey. And I'll let him know there's someone he owes one hell of a thank you on their way down.
Watch out for the robots. They're surprisingly sneaky. A shootout in Sedona.
into the mines. I hope we remember the way back to the surface.
Never liked them anyway. Out of the red with the trade authority. Can't say I don't appreciate it, but I doubt you came all this way just to do me a favor. Now you want to explain to me why you're going around harassing nefarious old men by wiping away their hard-earned debts? Adrian sent you. She's... Did she look okay? A terramorph? She's fortunate to be alive at all. Hope you two had plenty of backup. So what's this she had you bring all the way down here after putting you in harm's way? Terramorph attack, huh? Not exactly sure why you'd be bringing that... Wait, Tau Gourmet? Like Tau Ceti Tau Gourmet? That's a joke, right? There's no settlement old enough on Tau Ceti to have a Terramorph. Either someone's setting up the worst petting zoo in the universe, or if she made you come all the way for this. Let's get inside. I need to see these cells.
We should have a talk. When you have the time, of course.
Gonna ask you to not touch anything. Got some projects in the works down here. I wasn't expecting guests. Oh, and Lou mentioned how you took care of the debt.
Just paid the whole thing off, huh? Hope it's obvious from my current circumstances that that's gonna be a gift, not a loan.
All queued up. Let's gaze into this abyss, shall we?
All right, just get those cellular markers tagged.
Wait. Where are the markers? This can't be right. This sample, it's Londinian. I'll need to get this all in a slate. Adrian really gave you this sample. You're not lying to me? Because if you told me this was a hoax, and it'd be the best damn fake I've ever seen, I'd be mad and very, very relieved. Can't just humor an old man, huh? This sample, it's got all the indicators of the worst terramorph attack in human history. I presume you've heard of Londinian. It was a city wiped completely off the map by terramorphs. The swarms were so bad, they had to blow the spaceport and seal the place off from the galaxy at large. Not a lot of samples made it off the world from the time of the attack, but the ones that did, well, they look just like this one. I didn't detect any of the telltale signatures this specimen ever sat on a ship while it was alive, either. I don't think it was transported to Tau Ceti. This specimen, it grew there, faster than any terramorph should. Which means, if we're about to start a new era in human-terramorph relations, where big, sudden Londinian-style attacks can happen outside Londinian, That's not gonna end well for humanity.
It would be the end of us as a species.
So, you lugged this bad omen all the way here. You want to tell me what your plans are for it now? The circle, huh? Could use a drink about now. Here, faster we take the lift to the surface. Not supposed to use it, but given the circumstances, I'm inclined to just ask forgiveness. Let's get going.
When you have a few moments, there's something I'd like to discuss. Found a clutch of heat leeches.
Is that really her? Adrian.
Percival. My God, look at you. You're an old man now.
You're no hatchling yourself anymore, Major. Our friend here showed me your sample. Suffice it to say,
Not here. Let's talk somewhere more private. Lou said we could use the back.
Not a lot of folks would have stuck their necks out for a stranger like that.
We should have a talk. When you have the time, of course.
Lou gave me the abridged version of what went down. I can't thank you enough for taking care of all that.
makes two of us.
I hope it ultimately didn't end up being too much trouble. And I'm sorry about that. I'm just glad you both came through it intact. So, were you two able to get that workup together?
Got it right here. That sample? It's an exact match for the ones from Londinian.
Londinian. That's exactly what I was afraid of.
Not thrilled to be the bearer of that kind of news. That's for damn sure. So tell me you've got some kind of plan for that workup.
Well, right now, we've got more questions than answers. So I've been trying to figure out what it's gonna take to access our old Terramorph data.
Good place to start. What'd you find?
It's in the archives.
The Armistice Archives? Doesn't that mean we be dealing with the Cabinet? And the Freestar Collective? And House Varun somehow? Guess we can kiss that approach goodbye.
I didn't think the cabinet would be willing to hear us out either. But I called in some favors. They've agreed to hear us out on two conditions. One, they want to see this analysis you two have procured. And two, they want to discuss what happened on Tau Ceti. With both of us. Well, that's about the best news I've had all day. But before you commit, I want to make sure you know the whole story. Percival and I, we're not just researchers. We were military scientists, ran a division of the UC together that deployed aliens on the battlefield as weapons.
Place I was hiding out. That was our unit's home base.
After some early fits and starts at other facilities, the place eventually became the heart of UC xeno-warfare. A practice that's been banned ever since the armistice went into effect almost 20 years ago. And the UC military cut us loose for what we'd done. Oh, well, that means a lot. It's not something I'm exactly proud of. But it was during that assignment that the UC asked us to explore deploying terramorphs on the battlefield. The project never got off the ground, but the data our team gathered is now sitting in the archives, along with all the other information banned after the Colony War. Under the watchful eye of monitors from all the galactic factions still participating in regular politics. But if we can convince the cabinet to help us access that data, it'll give us the tools we need to decipher what exactly this sample might mean. And hopefully, how to prevent more attacks like the one that spawned it. All right. I'm gonna go get this work up into the cabinet's hands. I'll meet you out front of Mast in New Atlantis.
Good luck. You two are gonna need it.
Yes.
Now that we have a moment, I wanted to ask how you're feeling. After your experience at the temple, you've given everyone at the lodge quite a scare. That's distressing, but to be expected, I suppose. According to what I've heard, your body absorbed an almost unquantifiable amount of energy of a type we can't even begin to understand. We're dealing with something unknown to modern science. Who knows how this encounter has affected your body or your mind? Although I don't know the exact nature of the energy you absorbed, I'm fairly certain it means you no harm. I don't have any scientific data to back that up, so you'll just have to trust my intuition. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Well, good. I'm pleased to hear that. That temple proves we're dealing with entities of unknown origin. The problem is that we can't even begin to guess what their intention was towards us and where they've gone. Perhaps. It's just that... Oh, I'm afraid that we're flying almost completely blind here. All we know for certain at this point is that whoever created the artifacts are the same beings that built the temple. Anything else is just guesswork. I might as well put on a blindfold and toss darts at theories written on the wall. Oh, believe me, this is positively exhilarating. Think about the significance of this research. The questions it raises alone are mind-boggling. Who was this wondrous structure built to accommodate? How long ago did these entities inhabit our universe? Are they still out there, somewhere? Perhaps. We'll need more data to be sure. It's funny. I used to think the artifacts were the end-all be-all of scientific discovery. The pinnacle mystery of our time. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine it would lead to something of this magnitude. I just hope that you'll come through this, whatever it is, unharmed. Well, yes, of course you are. I was speaking of the power you've acquired. This is all scientifically speaking, of course. Look, I've already taken up too much of your time. All I can do is promise that I'm not going to make you deal with this mystery alone. Whatever might be happening, I'll be right here to help you every step of the way. When you have a few moments, there's something I'd like to discuss. Thanks for taking time to chat. I really need a friendly ear right about now. I received a message from Constellation, and it's given me a lot to think about. No. I wish it was that simple. It's not from Barrett specifically. It's a line list of questions they need answered. Only I'm not there to answer them. No, it's the first time. But the fact that they're reaching out, well, it's given me a lot to think about. Something like that. It's difficult to explain. Before I joined Constellation, I served for 8 years as the head of the Navigator Corps, until the UC decided to axe the department. It was a branch of the United Colonies Navy, a small fleet of ships outfitted for galactic exploration. Basically, a military version of Constellation. Had we notched some significant achievements, I'd agree with you. You see, the top brass demanded press-worthy discoveries to justify the spending, and money was tight after the war. Shutdown was inevitable. At the end of the day, I was in charge, so the blame obviously fell on my shoulders. Yeah? You once told me that you favored the journey over the destination. So I'm hoping you'll understand what I'm trying to say. I failed because I was more concerned about exploring the stars than pushing a pencil. Because of my lack of foresight, all I ended up with was a shattered division and a bunch of excuses. That depends on your definition of significant. Discover a rare neutron star, and no one cares. But slap a picture of a kooky alien life form on SSNN, and suddenly you're a goddamn rock star. It's all about the propaganda, what gets the people excited. That's what the United Colonies was focused on at the time. That's just it, though. Did I push too hard? Did they shut us down because I wasn't quietly sitting at my desk approving meaningless memos? We'll never know. Well, that brings us to this message now, doesn't it? Call it whatever you want. My drive, my initiative, my optimism. It's been my greatest strength and my worst nightmare. It elevates me to these positions of authority, but all I want to do is explore, not sit and make sure all the accounts are balanced. Yes, exactly. If it's obvious to you, imagine how obvious it is to someone like Barrett or Mateo. Oh, they must be itching to replace me by now. God damn it. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. Oh, here you are trying to help me and I'm yelling at you. You have to understand. Once Aja retired, I lost the only person that gave a damn. Look, it's clear that you have feelings for me. It's just... I've never had time for this sort of thing in my life. Please, it's not you. It's me. I'm just not ready to get that close. I can't. Not now. But thank you for being there and listening. It helped. It really did.
Make yourself at home.
injuries or mistakes you incur while suffering the effects of overwork or exhaustion can also harm your company's bottom line.
Hell of a city, isn't it? There's nowhere else like it in the galaxy.
Captain! Over here! The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC. It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus, woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin, a title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come. I'm getting there. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death, on both sides. Freestar Collective and UC. Military and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned. I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or, if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here. Then I guess it's just a matter of...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Sounds like our cue. Here we go.
Captain. Congratulations on joining the ranks of the Vanguard.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
That's quite the leap, Captain. Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, Terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask how many deaths the Cabinet requires to act. 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this Terramorph seem at all alarming to you?
That is worth considering. This attack took place on an almost completely uninhabited world. The casualties were minimal as a result. But if there's another attack, will we be so lucky?
Yes, a fine point, Admiral. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
I'm uncomfortable opening the archives without gathering more information. However, if that's the path forward you prefer, then so be it.
I'm inclined to agree.
As am I.
I suppose that does get to the heart of the point, doesn't it? Very well. I consent. The galaxy was lucky you were here today, Captain.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to... What was that?
Attention. An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident? Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terramorphs.
Terramorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God.
Damn it. They're here. Now.
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. It's going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, We'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming, and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, ma'am. Captain, I'm right behind you. Let's get down there.
You! The EM rifle, grab it! Now!
Stop carrying too many odds and ends.
I can't stop!
I don't even need a gun.
Another loser, another notch on my gun.
Thank you for what you did. We didn't want to hurt them.
The way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terramorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some Terramorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire, and keep that EM weapon at the ready. Let's do it.
Nat's unlocked. Please, do what you can to help them.
Something's out there.
No time to waste, Captain. Stash the EM and pull some firepower. Let's move!
Okay. All citizens are required. Proceed to the nearest shelter.
There! Shoot it! Shoot it! You want back up? Don't just stand there. Good! They can't reach the city!
Spots. We've got the remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad. We're barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, one for our team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over any more women. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can.
Back up. You say the word, we're out there on your 6.
You two have any experience with terramorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here, but we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight. Might make you more liability than asset.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us. Your call. We're on the line.
All that junk you're hauling is seriously slowing you down. It's over. Thank God. If these things reached the populated areas of the city, we would have had an absolute massacre on our hands. Just isn't the same as the real thing.
Hey there. Nice to see you.
they weren't kidding about you two. Universe put the right people in the right place. Certainly doesn't feel like it.
I don't want to think what would have happened if you two hadn't been here.
Just glad we could rise to the occasion. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terramorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
Attention. The spaceport has been secured. Safety precautions remain in place. Please wait for the all-clear signal before exiting your homes. That is all.
How the hell do Terramorphs get into the city
That's a
like
relief
this
to hear.
undetected?
Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, there you are. I believe we have some things we should discuss.
The loss of life, the damage to the spaceport. The costs of this attack are greater
Losing
than I think we
anyone in the
realize.
line of duty is a tragedy. These attacks, they can't happen again.
Captain? Hadrian? It would appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today. As well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the Cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. We're dismissed.
We're counting on you. Don't let her not
Chief
sabotage.
Engineer start getting the plan together for the We're on the cutting edge of technology here. It's an exciting place to be.
Hey.
Yes?
In these orders, a Vanguard captain. You... Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second-in-command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the Terramorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct?
Someone paid attention in current events. So, then you also know that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun.
Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done.
I couldn't agree more. However, both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate.
And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative.
But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun? Ah, the good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable. Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her.
Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support.
And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code.
Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze.
UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage.
But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell.
So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen.
Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you.
All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up, you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise.
And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there.
Captain, would you like to finish your briefing on the ambassadors? Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval. It does, but there's a concern. We're not 100% sure Balmore is actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting. Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice. I have no doubt. Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there. Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.
Scientist out in front of mast, staring at trees, sounds upset. Whatever it is, it can't be that bad, right?
Sorry, but I need sign-off from the Interstellar Affairs office before I can set foot in there. Like, you gotta be...
Maybe we should stop for a moment at the memorial. You know, to pay our respects.
Fine. Red tape, great news.
You our visitor?
Hard to believe it's been 2 decades since we were at war with the Collective, when it seems like only yesterday.
Visitors are only allowed in the lobby. I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestar Collective. But you lead, and I'll follow.
Terramorphs? As in more than one? All that security and they still can't protect their own spaceport. The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. When we have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Sorry. Everyone's a little on edge after the attack. I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment? Ah, you're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved many lives. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants terramorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right. Oh, stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. That information is there because it is dangerous. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time, and yours, and go? You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance. One, to convince me. Understood. I'm listening. No one does, Captain. The only question is how to do it. Oh yes, this band research is precisely what the factions need to kickstart their relationship. Let's breed a bioweapon together. It's a job I take very... Captain, I'm sorry, but my answer is not changing. The UC is just gonna have to find another way. Now, I presume you can see yourself out.
That woman is an absolute... Oh, sorry. Oh, what? You're the Vanguard captain, right? You know, I was about to board the Nat to the spaceport when the alarm triggered. Sounds like I got real lucky. And like I've got you to thank for things not being a lot uglier. Well, then you have my earnest thanks. But look, they said you were coming here on official business. The ambassador likes to handle all that personally, even if she does have trained diplomats here to help her. And I don't want to get shipped back to Aquila City, so you should probably go speak to her. You want to work with me? Why don't we talk somewhere a bit more private? So you want me to work with you? But why now? Why me? No, I think that's a pretty safe assumption. And no other city should have to go through what happened here. So then, what would you need from me? Our quarters. Huh. Oh, that's doable. And you and the UC will be providing me with what for my services? Oh, wait, I thought you were looking to hire me. I'm not taking a bribe. That much, huh? Okay, no, okay, yeah. Okay, so there's a utility corridor that leads to the ambassador's quarters, which you can access through the main conference room. Here, the key. Whatever you do, don't let the guards see you entering or exiting the utility section, or you're gonna be in serious hot water. I'll keep an ear out for more instructions from the UC.
Patching in playback.
Son of a bitch! Cameron! Are you alright, Ambassador? It seems the Council of Governors has rejected my appeal to join. Again. Which means you and I are stuck in this colonial rat cage until we die. But I think we might need to. We should expedite the process.
What are you getting at, ma'am?
I mean, my requests keep being rejected because they don't want to add a seat, right? But what if? What if one opened up? Life is hard. In what it used to be. It's not like anyone would miss him.
Eva, I think it's time to get some sleep.
Just think about it. Maybe we can reach out to some experts at that sort of thing, huh?
Good night, Eva.
Did I not make myself abundantly clear, Captain? You're not getting access to the archives. Excuse me? I have no idea what you're talking about. No. If the Council found out, I'd lose my position. I'd be exiled. Look, I believe we may have gotten off on the wrong foot. The issue at hand is one of trust, no? So perhaps if I can trust you to keep this little secret between us, then maybe we can find a way to trust the UC with access to the archives. Good. I appreciate you working with me. Just like I'm sure our great powers will. In fact, I think there's an opportunity here. Keep both our factions happy and ensure an air of legitimacy to the whole proceeding. I can only let you get the information on the Terramorphs. Anything else and people will get suspicious. And all research will need to be monitored. Freestar scientific observers making sure everything's being used for the right purposes. But those 2 items should be enough to allay any suspicions. Good. Okay, let's go get you your access. They tell me it should only take a moment. And there. Here you go. I hope that'll be enough to maintain your discretion.